once, nice and calm. You almost there.
Yeah, I did it. I cried 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. Let's take it to the stage.
You dig it? You knock a dude down, you get some respect.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Let me get the right one on here. Hey, good Monday. Welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. You're here with your favorite baby boomer, R. Payne. And listen, we have an important one today. I think we talk around this. I think everybody has talked about the Vanishing Black Family. And I think this brother, Delano Squires, is putting out a book soon. And we're going to go over how the family has, the Black family in particular, the FBA, ADOS, all of us who are American descendants of slaves, or just people who came here in the early 1900s, which I don't consider tethers. If you were here for Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff, you've been here for several generations. I don't care whether you were in shackles in America or not. You were in shackles in some kind of way. But anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to go through the progression of things and how we got to where we are today. And I'm not going to just use my words. I mean, I have recollections of a lot of stuff. So we're going to use some numbers. We're going to use some things. And we're going to talk about it. Hey, what's going on, Catilia? How you doing? Welcome back. I haven't seen you over here in a while, but it's great to see you. I know you're always watching somewhere back there. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that. I just think that it's a very important topic. And we talk about a lot of crap that doesn't really matter. The hatred of Trump, whether we're conservative or whether and this is the thing that's so funny. This particular degradation of the Black community doesn't give a shit whether you're conservative or liberal. It does not matter. It doesn't even, that doesn't even play a part in this thing. You know what I'm saying? You could be as liberal as you want to be. Your family is being destroyed. You could be as conservative as you want to be. And, there's elements inside your family that's still has to live with the destruction of marriage, mores, shame, all those kind of things that make a strong family that can anchor your children and anchor their children into the future. Those anchors are just about gone. They're just about gone because you know why? Because a lot of young people can't do nothing but wish the death of the baby boomers who were the real last anchors of the Black community, if you look at it. Even with all, and we're going to go through some of the numbers, and we're going to try to be fair with the fact that, yeah, there was some effed up stuff that baby boomers did, some things that they denied, some things that went wrong. But remember, there was 76 million baby boomers. 25% of those baby boomers, 75% of those baby boomers, if they got married, the children of those baby boomers, 75% had both parents. 25% didn't. But 25% is an awfully large number. It really matters. So I always say to people, it's not all, but it's enough that makes a difference. So when you have 25% of 76 million people who may be wayward, single mothers, single fathers, all that kind of stuff, that is a lot of people going into the future. And it could cause a lot of damage with the offspring from those folks. So we're going to talk about some of that. I'm going to try to make sure that when we go through this thing, we're not trying to point fingers just at women, at men. We were both under analysis and programming, but it impacted us differently, right? The damage that was done to women and the damage that was done to Black men Might not be the same damage, but the effect is still the same. Today it seems like we can't even stand each other. I don't even see how we're going to make families back together. But there's still hope. So we're going to talk about some of that too. So one of the things I want to show you guys, and I put this chart up before because the the family breakup has 4 pillars to it, not just one. There's 4 pillars. There's 4 major pillars that I think that impacted where we were to where we are today. And I'm going to share those with you. Okay, here's the 4 pillars, and we're going to only talk about the first one, the Civil Rights Bill and the Faustian deal that LBJ made with the Black community that was nefarious and very destructive underneath the cover of trying to help us. The second pillar, if you could see that, was, the advent of the pill in 1960 and the sexual revolution, right? The advent of the pill, it doesn't get enough conversation when we talk about the pill. That was the main con that set women free. It really did. Because before the Roe v. Wade, that was 1973. If you got pregnant, this whole thing about just going to the clinic and getting a baby deletion, that wasn't really that easy before 1973. I mean, they were happening, but it was all kinds of destructive stuff. So women were unleashed there. Men played in that pool because we always do. There's more sex. You can bet your bottom dollars there's men there. But it wasn't just that. The pill, and here's where they can't blame the baby boomers so much. The bill came out in 1960. The baby boomer women were 14 years old. And here's the key. Their mothers, a lot of their mothers put them on the pill, not because they were sexually active, was to ensure that they wouldn't get pregnant while they were going through high school. I remember a lot of girls were on the pill, and they weren't even sexually active yet. It was a preventative measure, kind of like they try to do with the HPV shit they do today and all that kind of stuff. Little girls were taking the pill. Young women were taking the pill early on. Now, all the hormone effects and all the deleterious effects weren't 100% known back then. And, some women was bad, but it paid to the point because these girls weren't stupid. Once you understood that you could have sex without really worrying about getting pregnant, because the pills did work, guess whose sexual activity went up? The girls. And when the girls' sexual activity went up, guess who followed them? The boys. And guess what happens? We could trace back to the beginning of baby mamarism all the way back until then, as it started. So that's the other pillar, but we're not going to get into just that part. And plus, in the 60s and the 70s, it was a sexual revolution for the United States, period. It was an explosion of sex parties and all that kind of shit. Black people played a part in that too. It wasn't just us. It was America. All right, so that was the second pillar. The third pillar that impacted us was feminism. Not voting rights and getting a bank account. All that shit is good, right? Okay, the voting came long before that, but getting a bank account, being untethered from having to have your husband sign something for you and all that shit. These were good things. But then Gloria Steinem and the CIA put some other Faustian deals in there, right? You don't need a man. You got your own money. Listen. And a lot of sisters took to it because they put affirmations to the side that you could do it all on your own, whether you could or not. Right. So that helped the decay, the cultural decay. Shame didn't matter no more. What the church said didn't matter no more. Whatever was a governor over our activities and the way we behave started to decline in America, period. And then feminism played a great part in that on the psyche mind of the women. And then the last pillar, which might be the most destructive, was the war on drugs and all of that stuff. The drugs came in, and this is where the black man, and black women were on drugs too, but this is where the black men, low jobs, bad jobs, too much leisure time, oh, woe is me, and all that kind of shit. And a lot of guys took to either selling and taking drugs, violence, gangs. We had the whole thing. I lived through the days of the Black Spades and the Savage Nomads and all of those gangs that were in the Bronx and all of that kind of stuff, the Seven Immortals. These were some serious gangs. And they had made the movie, Warriors, trying to kind of commercialize it. So, I mean, these four pillars, if you put them together, they impacted the whole country, but they have profound impact on the Black community. And none of them were conducive to building families, to building marriages, to building long-lasting relationships. That's why me, going on my 39th year of marriage, everybody looks at me like I'm something special. When back in the day, man, marriages at 30, 20, 40, 50 years, were a dime a dozen. People lived together until they died. And so I stick out like a sore thumb, especially on these YouTube streets, because it's for younger people. But, so I'm going to try to go through this whole thing. Maybe some people will come up. I'll drop the link. And if you have your, because it's not only the bad part. If some people think they have a solution to a way we can get out of this and stay intact as a Black community, as a Black diaspora, and I hate using the word Black, but for the sake of, I guess, brevity and all that other kind of stuff, why don't we just use that? We always do the construct. Anyway, so I have this other video I want to show you. It's my first video, and it's a young lady talking about some parts and aspect of being a baby mama and that kind of stuff. And really, she's not just talking, she's talking to women, but it impacts men too, right? We're all living in this thing, and we're all a part of this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to that, and let's see what she has to say.
I see this repeatedly where women will say, why do y'all keep saying no ring, no children? Do y'all not know men will leave you a single mother regardless? Okay, let's go with that. If that's the case, then why are 70% of divorces initiated by women?
Mm-hmm.
The men aren't leaving, the women are. Let's get that straight. So that means women are actively choosing to be single mothers. They feel like it's easier to do it on their own, by themselves, than with another person.
God damn it!
Mm-hmm.
You can't make this shit up.
Okay. And then I find it funny when you also have married women complain about single moms. You cannot be a married single mom.
What the hell is that?
Married moms don't have to worry about the finances typically. They're complaining about the day-to-day stuff around the household, but they don't have to worry about how bills are going to get paid, the upkeep of the car, just like the regular stuff that keeps things functioning. In other words, men provide resources in the back end that allow women to complain.
Message.
They give y'all room to complain. If you're married and you're complaining, come on, man. Sometimes we got to look at things a little bit differently. Y'all want to be single women so bad. If you feel like that, then why did you even get married?
And then I know that y'all can't really do it on your own, because a lot of y'all married women that leave, that initiate 70% of these divorces, the first thing y'all are doing is asking for child support and alimony if you can, or you at least want him to help compensate, especially the moms that have not been working. If you have not worked the entire marriage, or at least a good part of your marriage to where you can go back and jump in the workforce, sweetie, you was not a married single mom. There's a reason why you were set up like that, meaning that man was taking care of things you didn't have to worry about. So again, I'm trying to figure out, if y'all can really do this by yourselves, y'all wouldn't require so much from men as far as resources.
I see this.
All right, so you get where she's coming from, and I agree with her. But there's a larger picture here. But okay, so let's go back, right? Because I have a documentary that came out in 1986, and I'm gonna play some of it. I kind of chopped it up. I'm not gonna play all of it, but I might skip around. But there's two cases that I'm gonna take a brief look at. But in 1986, the terminology they use might be a little different than the terminology of today. However, However, you'll find a lot of similarities. How you doing, Curtis? How you feel? Um, let me go back to the baby boomers, right? And why we get a lot of heat from everybody else, and maybe rightfully so. There was 76 million baby boomers. You split them up in a country, split them up, men, women, whatever. Even if you say half and half, right? 25% of kids were born out of wedlock, right? Back in the 1960s, just 25%. So let's just say those were some of the older baby boomers and all that kind of stuff. 25%. And if you look at just the black community, you narrow that down from all of America, but just to the black community, that's 2.5 million men and women who never got married, who had children, right, out of wedlock, probably mostly raised by the mothers, and the fathers were going through whatever hard times they were going through. They either were absent, alienated, didn't have a job. Even some of them had a job, but they didn't live in the home, whatever the reason. They didn't get married, but they had kids out of wedlock. We know that this was true. When you have 25% of a population 60, 70 years ago who went down a path, you could see if you extrapolate that out, it only gets worse. Those numbers start to get worse because it starts to permeate even the so-called good part of the baby boomers, the 75%, started going less and less. And by 1986, it was 50% of all black kids were born out of wedlock, just in a short 20-something years. And we're going to go through some of that. So when I start to say to people, when they start making these generalized statements about how effed up baby boomers were, and I say to them, I used to argue. I don't argue anymore because there were enough baby boomers who were out of pocket, who were disjointed, who were unmarried, who had kids out of wedlock. It was enough to make a difference. And you permeate that or extrapolate that through the generations, you bring us to where we are now. And if you include those other pillars I mentioned, the feminism, the drug trade, the war on drugs, the mass incarceration, just add it all, the sexual revolution, the lack of standards and mores and all that kind of stuff where nobody cared about shame anymore. We are where we are based on those last 60, 70 years. And now, today, 75% of our kids are born out of wedlock. 75%. I don't know how you put that genie back in the bottle, but we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that. So the next thing I want to play is clips of that 1986 documentary that, kind of goes into this. And one of the I just tell you, oh, by the way, even with the birth control pills, right? When the early birth control pills, one of the things in the black community that was true in the 60s and is true today is that we've always been wary of the government telling us what drugs to take, right? Ever since the Tuskegee, experiment, all of the things that they've done to black people, we still have a lot of trouble believing anything, and rightfully so. Anything that the government says. So there was a certain amount of women who would never take the pill, okay, because they don't want to believe the government, who was doing, but they got swept up in the sexual revolution just like everybody else. And then when Roe v. Wade hit in 73, they were able to take care of it also, again, quote unquote, without shame and all of that kind of stuff, So it was a eugenics program that we in the community readily, volunteer for. Now, a lot of us as men, we blame that on women, blah, blah, blah. But there was a whole hell of a lot of men who took their girlfriends to the clinic begging for them to do what they did. Let's not skip over that shit. There was a whole lot of hell of a men happy as hell that their girlfriends went to the clinic. Okay, so let's not try to kind of rub our hands and absolve ourselves as men. But we're guilty. A lot of us are guilty. All right, so Well, here's the documentary I'm gonna play for you guys, and it's not that long. It's long, but I'm gonna cut it up. But some parts you just gotta hear. So, and then kind of project yourself, of not project yourself backwards in time, but listen to what they're saying and ask yourself, can you see a group of people saying the same things right now in 2026? This is 1986 that I'm gonna show you, but in 2026, the jargon and the vernacular ain't that different. It really isn't, and the situation is not. Let's just put it to this way: you guys will recognize what I'm talking about. All right, so let me go ahead and switch over to that. All right. All right, here we go. Now, some of you seen the beginning of this, but this was a whole 25-minute thing, so 30-minute thing, but I'm not going to show you all that.
Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. 1. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I don't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
All right, is this 1986 or is this 2026 on TikTok? What she just said.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really, male figures are not substantially important.
Yeah. Was this 1986, or do we have 1,000 women who said the same thing just yesterday on TikTok?
In the family.
I ain't thinking about holding up no sex, my man. If a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condoms?
These girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. I'll tell you to take them things out. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
Is this 1986 or is this 2026? Now, this guy is a cad. We're going to look a little bit more about him. But this dude and his girl is something. But what he said is no lie. Women, you can't absolve yourself from the fact that y'all routinely tell guys to take off the condoms or tell them they're not getting none if they have it on.
Been a startling change in value.
All right, and let me say, no, I'm not trying to absolve the guys, but here, I'm going to say it one more time. If I haven't said it for 1,000 times, and I know people don't get this shit, men will take sex from women any way you give it. Men throughout the ages, this is not 2026. This is not when I was a young man. This shit was born long time ago. Men will take sex from women any way you give it. In general, in the majority. So
25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of Black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home. That is true no longer. Most Black children are now growing up without their fathers.
Now let's look at this. First of all, I know everybody is clamoring over the Trump administration and whether you hate Trump and all that other kind of shit. But the welfare payments is not going to be over during his tenure. His less than 2 years, less than 3 years now. The welfare is not going anywhere. It's not. I wish it was in some other aspects. What they did was put on a little requirement that people have to work for food stamps to do a few other things. But trust me, it ain't going away that fast. And, he ain't taking it away. It's going to still be here after he's gone. Now, remember, he can't run again. So just like the Iranians, the welfare programs are going to outlive Trump. Just believe that. Okay. I know it's going to be a little harder, but he ain't taking it. It's not going away. It is not going away.
The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today, nearly 60% of all black children are born out of wedlock.
It was 1986, folks.
Timothy said his children are not his responsibility. He has left them to be supported by their mothers and welfare. He's not unusual either.
And he's not. And that was 1986, and that's absolutely true today. There's a whole lot of guys, man, not raising any of their kids. And they're just like him, none of the hardship and all that horse shit. He's just popping them out there and just living his life. And one of the reasons why he doesn't have to, right, is because of the generational curses that have already been, even in the 20 years or 26 years since 1960, because his girl, her mother, took her in, and her grandmother took her mother in when she had her. And her grandmother was part of that 25% who never was married, but had a kid. Can you imagine what kind of advice they gave their daughters? You know, so I'm saying, you know, those Pookies and Ray Rays. Now, the only difference between that guy, this guy, right, that we just saw, and I'm going to just go back so we can have his picture, right? Any difference between this guy and Cam Newton and Nick Cannon is that Cam Newton and Nick Cannon can pay. They got money as the tool to compensate for the fact that they're impregnating many women. Now, we can have a discussion, which is not a part of this, as to whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, or it fully compensates for the man not being in the house, right? I think that Cam Newton has a lot of his kids living with him, I believe. So that's the way he compensates, but he has many women. I think Nick Cannon, I'm not so sure he lives with any of his babies' mamas and their kids. So he sees them on a rotational basis. But the one thing they have over this guy is this guy can't pay, and he has no means to pay, and he doesn't want to pay. And part of his explanation is because they got mothers for that. It's that dire. And this was 86. Can you imagine just extrapolating this kind of mindset and the women's mindset, the young ladies' mindset, through the generations and bringing us to where we are right now in 2026 on how we think and view each other and marriage and family and all of that other shit. It's crazy. I don't know how you put that toothpaste back in the bottle.
He's not unusual either. For LaDawn and Clorinda and Timothy, and many more like them in cities all over America, the traditional family no longer exists. It has vanished, and something new is taking its place. Single women and the children they're rearing alone are the fastest growing part of the black population. What becomes of the black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
Now, I'm going to let this guy play. So I skipped some of the rest of that. And we're going into, he's going to look at just two of these people. I'm not going to show you all of their story, but the guy and his girl. I'm going to show you some of it just so we can get a feel for it. So here's the guy from CBS talking about just setting up the scene.
Newark, New Jersey, one of America's inner cities. Inner city is a polite name for ghetto, as in black ghetto. Those of us who don't live in the ghetto are brought here usually by television, and usually only when there are violent pictures to show. But we have to come here if you want to understand those fearsome statistics about the vanishing black family. Now, a lot of white families are in trouble too. Single-parent families are twice as common in America today as they were 20 years ago. But for the majority of white children, family still means a mother and a father. This is not true for most black children. For them, things are getting worse. Today, Black teenagers have the highest pregnancy rate in the industrial world. And in the black inner city, practically no teenage mother gets married. That's no racist comment. What's happening goes far beyond race. Why then do so many teenage girls get pregnant and have children? Why do so many fathers abandon their families? The answers begin with the people here. They told.
All right, so before he goes on, okay, so let's put in some historical context or the context. The black diaspora has been voting for the Democratic Liberal Party since in mass since 1960, 64, almost to a clip of over 90%. The Congressional Black Caucus, I believe, was started in 1971. The NAACP was around, and all these organizations, the Black Church, right? How in the hell that this crisis wasn't put on the front of the back burner, for years? You know what I'm saying? How did that not happen? Right? Because if this white guy could see in 1986 that we're headed for complete destruction, and we're pretty much there in 1986, think about where we are now with 75% of our kids. And just go turn on any news station. We got roving bands of Lord of the Flies kings running in neighborhood, running over downtown, cities everywhere. Lawlessness everywhere. Because there's just our kids are like in the forest, like wild animals at the lower level. Right. And so what's going on? Now they're talking about putting parents in jail for not taking care of their kids. And that's going to be really crazy because I think a lot of women are going to be going to jail. And because you can't blame that on the father, because a lot of the fathers have no contact with their children. And that sometimes that's by design. Right. So so we say a lot of things, but that's not going to correct the problem either.
Told us what happens to family when mothers are children. Fathers don't count, and the street is the strongest school.
Good morning. Check out here, Bob Slade standing by. We are going to check with you on Okay, Bob.
It is the beginning of another school day in Newark, New Jersey. Another day of class for Clorinda Henderson. She is 17 and had hoped to graduate from high school next year, but that was before the birth of her baby.
I dreamed that having a little baby, you could just cuddle your arm, just hug all the time, kiss on it, smell it, because it's so sweet. I thought it'd be fun until I had it.
The reality's different.
The reality just punched me right.
I'm gonna say it again. 1986 or 2026. How many TikToks have we seen with ladies saying the same thing? I mean, just generational curse passed down and down. Somebody said, well, these ladies are in their 60s now, but did they tell their daughters any different? Right? Their grandkids, some of them are great grandmothers. Did they pass down anything different? Now, this one, I'm not going to show her things. She said that's going to be her dream to be able to do it. But
I had to pinch myself and see if I was here because I was like, this is too much.
Clorinda was only 15 when she got pregnant with her daughter, Shaquana. She is not unusual. Half of all black teenagers become pregnant. Clorinda has never been married. She's still living with her mother at home, where she's raising her baby daughter. Clorinda goes to a special school for dropouts after she takes her daughter to a daycare center. She has 5th grade math skills and reads at a 6th grade level.
When I got pregnant, I said, well, I'm going to have this baby, and she's not going to stand in the way of my education. I'm not going to let no one stand in the way of my education. I ain't going to be like these other girls, just drop out, can't get no job, no money, have to be on welfare.
Ready. On the vocabulary. Bingo.
Clorinda learned about birth control in sex education courses, but she still became pregnant. You think it was a mistake?
Well, I'll say no, because I wasn't on any, birth control methods. Neither was he. And, we were sexually active. And when it happened, it just happened.
When you think back to that day when you learned you were pregnant, what went through your mind?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna tell my mother. And I'm gonna tell my mother she gonna make me get an abortion. I was really scared, I think.
Why didn't you want to get an abortion?
Because I wanted his baby.
What did you like about him?
His legs.
His legs?
I got a thing for bow-legged boys.
Bow-legged boy.
I love them.
You know, I swear to God, there was so many girls who like bow-legged back. I don't, if that shit's still true back then. I know in the hood, man, guys used to try to bow their legs to get the chicks to look at them. I remember shit like this from back in the 60s and 70s.
They have some gorgeous legs.
Now they're going to show the guy coming up, and we're going to listen to him. And we can say that him being a father is just like no hope for the kid.
Darren Lyle is the father of Clarinda's baby. He is 18 and lives in central Newark. He dropped out of high school when he was 16. He has never held a steady job.
I spend most of my time listening to the radio. When I don't go to school, I don't work, I don't do nothing. Just like this killing time.
Did you want to have a baby?
Not really. It just happened. She just popped up pregnant. And I just.
Were your friends impressed?
A lot of, everybody was telling me, that, she looked just like me, and, she is kind of cute, kind of pretty. That was like, make me feel good.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do many of them have babies?
That seems like that's all they be doing about is making babies and stuff, making babies.
It's kind of funny. People say the folks in the hood, back in the day, they have a lot of kids and all that. Let me put it, when you're under pressure and your life seems like there's nowhere to go, and you look for anything that gives you pleasure, right? Is it really far-fetched that they're having a lot of sex with each other? Even if it's for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes to say, fuck it, man, let me just throw caution to the wind, right? It's not far-fetched to see that there's a lot of sex and this is not just a black community, it's anywhere, right? Because if there's nothing else to do, you're going to at least want to default to something that at least once in a while makes you feel good. It just makes sense to me, right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
Darren told us that in this neighborhood, it's easy to get involved with girls and easy to get into trouble. Darren has been arrested 5 times for stealing, suspicion of homicide, and for possession of a deadly weapon. When you were arrested for carrying a dangerous weapon, what was it?
One of those big machetes.
Machete?
Knives and big knives.
You mean you just carried it around with you?
I used to bring it to school with me.
I mean, that's hard to conceal that, isn't it?
No, because I had like this blue coat.
And you can see the general thing where when he talks, he can't look at him, can't look at the guy in the eyes. He meets his eyes once in a while, but he always puts his head down, right? That's prevalent in the community as well. That was true back then. I had to fight. I wasn't like this guy, but I had to fight to break that particular habit. And but I would imagine with some of the inner city guys, it's probably still prevalent, or people, black folks, or people in general.
Like a blue goose. I poked a hole in the pocket of it, and I just put it right in there.
Isn't that dangerous?
That's the way stuff was going, like. That's the way the people was acting towards me. So I felt like I needed a weapon. Because, it used to seem like, it's like war, really like Vietnam.
Have you asked Darren to help you with the baby?
No, because I see he can't even help himself.
I'm going to just stop it right there. Because we're going to move to the next guy, but she said it all. And the rest of it is pretty much plays out what she just said. That's profound. Right? So, and today, right, you can still see mothers who will say the same thing. Some of it might be true, some of it might be a lie. But they're giving babies to guys who can't even help themselves. and then expect those guys to stand up and do something prominent until they give up, right? And say, there's no way this guy's going to help me, so I forget him, right? I'm going to forget this guy. I don't need the drama. And the guy sees his kids less and less because his usefulness is over. And I can see some women say, well, you can't get the fruits of trying to raise a kid, but you ain't pouring anything worthwhile into the guy. And some of that is a little bit of money and support and just showing up. Now, I don't know, but it's got to be a part of it. So I want to skip up to another part of this for a second. Anybody wants to come up, we're going to drop the link. But, again, it's up there, but I'm going to drop it again. All right. And this was a good one here, right? I don't know where we go with this, okay? So let me go ahead and there's another couple we're going to show a little bit of their thing. And it's a little bit more interesting because it's the guy we showed before. And then we're going to come up and bring it up to the future where we are in 2026.
Went to business college for a year and worked steadily until she became pregnant with her first child.
I was doing so good before I was pregnant. I had a little job. I kept money, stuff. But after I had the child, that's when money started going low.
What was your reaction when you found out you were pregnant the first time? Did you intend to get pregnant?
It wasn't planned. But when I got pregnant, I wanted it. I wanted to be a mother. It was exciting to me. I just thought if I had something of my own, a little child that's going to call me mom. After you have them, it's hard. You got to bond this, you got to bond that.
Malik is Alice's firstborn. He is now 3 years old. Soon after he was born, Alice, then 20, quit her job to take care of him. 16 months later, her second child, Antoine, was born. When we met, she was 6 months pregnant with her third child.
Ain't no mom.
Okay, so before we hear this guy, the question on the floor here is, there's been mentoring of men throughout the generations going down, but let me tell you, it's not enough. It's not enough to quell the onslaught of single parent households. It's just not enough. It might have saved some lives. It's not a needle in a haystack. Maybe the percentages are better than that one single mom who raises the kid to become a basketball player in the pros or a football player in the pros. The odds are astronomical. So even in the best of time, one thing in the Black community, there's no shortage. There's absolutely no shortage of programs that help kids, but it doesn't help them in mass enough to stave off the onslaught, because a lot of those kids still have to go back home to broken houses, right? So it's like being able to, put fingers in a dike of a leaky dike with 100 holes in it. If you don't have 100 pieces of fingers and somebody to back you up to plug that thing, it's going to leak. And like I said, 2.5 million people from the baby boomer generation who were off code is a lot. When you start looking at generation to generation to generation, you can see how that could grow to where it's at now. So let's check a look at her guy.
Seed is 26, the father of Alice's 3 children. Though they're not married, they see each other regularly.
When I first met him, I didn't like him. But when he started talking to me, it seemed like he was like a man that wanted to have a home, have children, take care of them.
Did you talk with Timothy about how you were going to support the baby when you were pregnant?
That's what we didn't do. No, we didn't even talk about how we was going to support the child.
Timothy McSeed held his last steady job 2.5 years
ago. All right, so I'm stopping it because it's somebody else's stuff. How many times does that play out that women are having babies from guys and they haven't had one conversation on if she got pregnant, what they're going to do with that kid, how they're going to support her. Because they weren't, I mean, it's like the future, what's that, pastor's prologue, or, whatever the hell that means, just got to be that situation.
Ago. He's been arrested several times on robbery and drug charges. He was brought up in Newark by his mother, who was 16 when Timothy was born. His father has another family in another city. Timothy has a talent for drawing, which he has never developed. He dropped out of high school at 16 and spent 2 years in the Job Corps. He was 23 when he and Alice had their first child. Timothy does not support any of his children. How many children do you have? 6. He fathered those 6 children by 4 women. He also had 2 more children by 2 other women, but one died in infancy and the other was aborted. We asked him about the birth of his first surviving child.
It's kind of a funny experience because, like, me and the girl was just messing around, right? And she was going with somebody else. She used to be an old girlfriend of mine. She managed to get popped up by me.
Okay, that's the second baby. The third was...
Mustafa. He was the third.
That was by another lady?
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Ward. Yes, I go see him every now and then.
How old is he now?
He's...
Come on up, man. Come on up, man. The link is the StreamYard link is in the chat.
5, if I'm not mistaken. 504, either one.
And then the fourth one was...
Simone. I only saw her twice. 2 times.
What happened to her?
It was a family problem. The father don't want me to see the mother and all that. So I got tired of running behind her and found me someone else. I didn't have to sweat it because I guess the father was taking care of them anyway. So,
how does it feel to have those women? No kids.
Kids, but you get to see. If it ain't one thing you've done, like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, this is something that I've done. Just like the carpentry, it's something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something, what your life was, it was to you.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, like they might grow up to be doctors or actors, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my girl,
So this guy is talking about this stuff, but he's not putting anything into the kids. So he just hopes to get the rewards at the end. What's going on, man? 100 watts, what's happening? I don't know how much of this you saw.
I've been excuse me. I've been listening for a few minutes. I think the lady before this, you had a dude before him and then the lady before him.
Yeah.
So that's where I was picking up.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is 1986. This is a CBS report. And if you listen to what they're saying now, it's like a black and white version of what you could get on TikTok right now. Mm-hmm. Almost verbatim. It's crazy. Now, in this 1986, it was only 50% of the households with no kids, with one parent in the house. And so you can see how if you extrapolate that to where we are, where it's only 25%. It's crazy. And I have some other stuff. Now, I wasn't going to show this whole guy. I just wanted to show the mindset of the first girl and her boyfriend. This guy, his girl has 3 kids. And they're all by him. So she says, they're all by him. And this guy, he refuses to work. He refuses to work. So, and he's an interesting story, but he's the kind of guy you say, I'm gonna just plug them up, enjoy my time. If they get pregnant, okay, I'll come around, but don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me for anything. He pretty much says that. Anyway.
But there's some people that can't have children at all.
Their mothers raised Timothy's children, and welfare pays for them.
There you go. So he said their mothers, so that the grandmothers are involved, and that's how the generations continue. Because That's pretty much how the out of wedlock kids in my family got raised, right? So when my some of my teenage cousins got pregnant, their mothers raised their kids pretty much. Now, lucky for them in our family, since we had like a really close knit family, it was arrested development for them because a lot of my cousins who had those kids out of wedlock, they went on to finish college. Their kids actually went to college, so they're not the typical kids born, they were illegitimate. Some of their fathers were around, some of them weren't. A couple of them stayed around and helped raise the kids. Some of them, no. So I've seen all of this shit is so familiar to me as we go through the years and with the numbers. I'm saying, man, I absolutely see how we got here, how we got to where we are today. And the question is, how do we put that genie back? Go ahead, say that again.
What year did you say this was from?
This is 1986.
1986.
Yeah, you're kind of low there too. You're kind of low.
Okay, 1986.
Right, it was the year before I got married.
Okay, so the people in this, they pretty much, these are the people that raised me then.
But this guy and his girl, I guess they're Gen Xers, right? Their parents were baby boomers, probably. And because they're grown, so I think 86 was right at the end. They might be Gen Z. They're Gen Xers, right?
Because I was born, so if this is 86, I was born in 92. So these people that are having kids had me and my peers.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, I mean, I don't know if your parents were Gen Xers or baby boomers. Well, Gen X started in 64. So, started in 64.
They were after that. They were both 70 something.
Oh, is that right? Your parents are young, man.
Yeah, both of my parents were 70 something.
Yeah, so they were firmly into Gen X.
Yeah,
Yeah, fucking black man. It's not the baby boomers' fault, man. What's this? Nobody. I mean, I'm just looking at this thing. No apology can undo what black liberal women did to shopping. Well, I don't know. I do say black liberal women. Anyway, listen, man. It's more. I could continue with this guy, but it's more of the same, right? It's just more of the same. But let me finish with this guy because we know where the mother is. But I want to hear some more of this guy. So I want people to hear a little bit more of the way this guy was thinking. This is the third kid, right?
Sad face, little baby.
One of the things, 100. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand because women are on their nature. When they have kids, man, they do all the heavy lifting. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all the heavy lifting. I mean, carrying the kids, having a baby, it's a lot of heavy lifting. A man, and it seems like they do it willingly, and they don't really give a shit. If I like you, that's it. You know what I'm saying? And I can't get past that. I mean, I don't think they understand the weight of the decisions that they make when they have these kids. What's going on, JT? What's happening, man?
What's going on, man? What's popping with you fellas, man?
All right, man. How much of this have you seen, man?
Well,
Oh, you froze up a little bit.
So I think I don't know if I completely agree with that, with part of what you were saying.
About the heavy lift?
About the knowledge of, being aware of it. Because don't you think that's part of the reason why they use that weight, like the weight of that responsibility? Like, I carry this for 9 months, in terms of custody, for example. Like they utilize that weight, the weight of that, as a tool to be the custodial parent.
Yeah, but that's after the fact. That's what I'm saying is that's after once they went through it, and now whether it's legitimate or not, I'm not saying they're completely ignorant because they've seen women have kids and what they've gone through before, whether it was them or not. But when they start piling that shit on later on, now it's actuals. They're dealing with actuals. That's different than before you get pregnant. You know, you might know you got to have a baby, you got to go through this and that. But when you actually go through it,
Okay, here's a less extreme example.
okay,
Here's a less extreme example. Okay, you know how when you're a dad and you're at work all day,
yeah,
and when you come home, the child be excited and be like, "Daddy,"
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then she'll leave and go to Walmart and come back, and then the baby will see her and be like, "Oh, this bitch back." She feel away about that, but like, damn, I carried you all this time, and you don't get happy to see me.
You know, hey, come on, man.
And this nigga that only be here for 30 minutes come in, and you all excited.
Well, that'll piss them off. Yeah, that's for sure.
I think they have full acknowledgement of the weight.
I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue with that. I think some have a little bit more knowledge of it than others, because some of them who have the knowledge of it actually won't get pregnant. They'll stop themselves from having babies. You know, I mean, they know. I mean, we do have birth control, right? I've heard women say, "Yo, Dad, my daughter told me that." A couple of people and women I know, this is really not that hard not to get pregnant, up to and including not having sex. And that one is kind of out of the window. After a certain age, it's just going to happen, right? So, I mean, listen. So what?
Or getting a vasectomy.
Yeah. You back, JT? What's going on?
I'm back, man. Internet issues. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, man. So what's happening, man? How much did you see, man, of this stuff? You said you saw some of it, right?
No, I seen the whole thing. I did a show on it. So yeah, I did 2 or 3 shows on it. So I know the whole thing.
All right. Hey, so listen, I was gonna pass this guy because there's a guy coming out with an updated version. He's a Christian brother.
Did you get to you didn't get to the part where he was saying it wasn't his problem though, did you?
No, I was just gonna finish. I cut a lot of this shit out because I just wanted us to get a glimpse of him, but I was gonna play it right now because I'm gonna bring him to the end.
Okay.
This guy right here. Let me go ahead and play this guy.
Okay.
You hungry? I know you're hungry. Let me see my little man.
So many women, so many children. Do you ever think that maybe you shouldn't do it? Unless you can be sure you don't have a kid?
Oh, not really, because I'm highly sexed. But I have ways of cooling myself down. You know, because like when you're dealing with one female and you're not dealing with another female, having sex with her too much is bad. So you have to set a schedule when you should do it, when you should not.
You seem to break your schedule sometimes.
Well, like most women say, you're a baby maker. I just got strong sperm.
Would you have had these kids if you'd thought about them in advance?
No.
All were an accident.
Yeah, you can say that.
Were you just having a good time?
Yeah, I love your time. I enjoy myself.
And you didn't think about marrying any of these women except the first one, the first girl?
Yes. Well, I'm gonna marry Alice.
Sandra.
Oh yes, we're gonna get married.
Do you love Sandra?
Yes, a lot. Great deal.
Does she love you?
Wait, come on.
Crazy about.
Say what?
You telling me he talking about getting married and called her by the wrong name? Is that what just happened?
No. He didn't call her by. He got a bunch of women.
Yeah.
So he was saying
because I heard 2 different names come out of his mouth.
Yeah. He was saying I was gonna marry her, and he said he was gonna marry the other chick too. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Oh, all right. I was misunderstanding.
Tell me, why did you get married?
Well, see, I'm old-fashioned. I want a big wedding. That's that. And my uncles and my aunts, they all had their little tuxedos, and I'm gonna have mine too.
I thought you were going to say to me, because I can't afford to at the moment.
Oh, that ain't it. Because I'm going to find me something. I'm going to get something. See, I'm strong in that spot.
When?
Find something. Never. keep on trying. I don't never give up.
So, can you pause it for a minute? Our pain. Keep in mind, 100 watts. That guy was what was he? Did they say his age? I think it was like 25, 24.
He's like 27 or something.
27. So imagine now how old he is now. 100 watts. That was 86. I was in the 8th grade.
Yeah, he's like 60 something.
60-something years old.
Yeah. Well, did he stop or did he have like 7 or 8 more kids out there?
You're right. That's what I'm saying. Because this was in Newark, right? This was in Newark, New Jersey, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that this nigga standing outside talking about get off my lawn? For real?
This
the nigga yelling at us to get off his lawn.
Well, that's if he's still living.
That's right.
Come on, brother.
But he has at least 6 children, that's probably out here in this world if they're still living.
Y'all know what's crazy?
Which is older than you.
Our pain, ain't that your peer? Ain't that your baby boomer behavior? Ain't that your buddy from around the way?
First of all,
he's a boomer.
No, that guy, he could be.
He a boomer. Come on, our pain.
He was 86. Yeah, he's still a boomer. He's a boomer. He's a
boomer. He's a full-hearted bloomer.
Why you so aggressive? Coach?
Stop it. His girlfriend is an extra.
Because our pain he was trying to avoid. That was one of his buddies back in his day. See, because our pain in '86, you was what, 21? Y'all went to school in clubs together.
86. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was born in 58. I was born in 58.
Okay, yeah, 86.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
You only 8 years older than my mom. I mean, younger. I'm sorry. You only 8 years younger than my mother.
So this guy, if he was 27, it was 86. He was like 59, right?
Yeah, he was right there with you. Yeah.
So we were at the end of the baby boomer generation, but hold on, because you missed what you missed, and maybe what you missed too, and maybe all of y'all. I did the numbers, and one of the things is a lot of people blame today's events on the baby boomers, and from the standpoint of numbers, they could be correct. And here's how I do the numbers. There were 76 million baby boomers. 76 million. That's a whole country wide. Hold on now. 76 baby boomers. 25% of kids born in that area were out of wedlock. 75% were in. So if it was 25% of kids born out of wedlock, that was somehow under the 19 million people in the United States didn't get married, but they were still having kids.
Yeah.
If you make that 13% of that with just the black community, that's 2.5 million. So when people say baby boomers fucked up, blah, 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 even, in the black community, if 2.5 million people were wayward of baby boomers in 1960, extrapolate that shit out to now, that has a profound impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a profound impact.
Twice.
The largest generation thus far.
So
by
that's
a long
right.
run. Yeah.
That's why I stopped, arguing, because I said, and I use this phrase, even though I don't blame it, it was enough to make a difference. And 2.5 million people back in the 60s that didn't have kids, but didn't have marriage, but were having kids and not teaching the other kids. If you extrapolate that, it's not far-fetched to where we are now. Now, that wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
What year did they bring the birth control to the community?
1960. 1960, the birth control pill came out. Hey, but I'm glad you brought that up, because I want you to stay on that point. See this chart I have? Mm-hmm. I have 4 pillars that impacted the black community. The one we're talking about now is over the civil rights movement, welfare, and all that. Mm-hmm. But the pill.
Can you make that bigger?
Yeah, I can. Hold on. Yes, I can. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The pill and the sexual revolution was from the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another pill. You know, it impacted the whole country, but it had an impact in the black community too. The third pillar was feminism and the cultural decay. Less religion, less shame was going, all that shit was going. And the last one, of course, was the drug war. Right. So these four pillars, and the fact that the Democrats were using us as fucking pinatas because they had chances to do something about it, but didn't. These things impacted the black community more than it impacted everybody else.
Yes, 100%.
You know, and so I'm sitting back here saying, so this is why I'm talking about this today. I said, this is really profound. If you put it together, you can see how we decayed from when we had a lot of families and stuff like that to where we are today. And it was not because people were just resting on their laurels. It was the programming that impacted men and impacted women in different ways. Go ahead, Coach. What you say?
Yeah. No, man, the fact that I like charts like this, man. I wish people would read these because you sort of allude to the major impacts of our lifetime. And I guess time that they try to say we represent in America. They only predict us to be starting as slaves, but we know that that's not true. But the major events that I allude to, man, it's spot on, especially when you see a visual. And that's why I've always worked with the mindset of, building family, self-growth, all that, just understanding government, understanding policy, laws, depending on where you live. I've always had to sort of indulge in that for a long time. And then you hear me say it all the time, the 80s crack era, late 80s, 90s changed my life as an adult.
Yeah.
Because even through all of this right here, I saw black men getting along. I saw black men working. I saw black men trying to learn how to hustle without the instructions of trying to hustle. Brothers went to school, you at least did enough to pass. You try to be a little more helpful to the old lady that might have, lived up the street. You wasn't trying to rob her. But then when them drugs hit the community, black men were already being affected and maintaining. But when they brought those drugs into those communities, the mother started getting strung out. Once mothers started getting taken away from home, over the last 40 years, these are 40-year-old so-called slow, modern, sophisticated, emotional, hate everybody adults, and I say it out of love. They're struggling. They're struggling worldwide. They focused on individualism and sensational individualism, and I don't see it helping them in the future because they still have to. They're in America. They got to make a decision either to stay or leave. But in America, think about it. Everybody won't be able to be an entrepreneur.
No, of course not.
Somebody gonna have to make a decision to go work and learn the new skills because AI is taking over a lot of automation. I go to the base all the time, JT, and they're getting prepared for it for after the Olympics 2028, maybe before. It's going to be a great shift in people sitting in office, air-conditioned type work. You're going to have to be able to provide a skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Eda, man? What's going on, man?
So do you think birth control was a net negative or a net positive for the black community?
How you doing, Eda, man? How you doing,
nigga? I ain't come
man?
to talk to you, nigga. You know we beefing. Nigga ain't talking to you,
nigga. We ain't never. Me and you ain't never beefing. Don't even
I
trip.
just messing with y'all, dog. How y'all doing,
you my
man?
homie now. Coach, quit playing with me.
I see you finally growing a mustache and beard, Eda, man. What's up? I see you finally letting it grow.
I'm cut it off just because you said that. I don't like no nigga. I don't like no nigga commenting on my facial hair. I'm about to cut that shit as soon as I get home.
So let's get back to the question. First of all,
yeah, go ahead.
Listen, first of all, it's the pill in itself had benefits, but just like anything that has benefits, it could be misused. So whether it was beneficial, here's what I see happen. And I'm gonna say this: when the pill came out in 1960, baby boomers were 14 years old. The mothers started putting young women on birth control to prevent pregnancies, kind of like the HPV shit they want kids to take now, a preventative measure. But the underlying thing, you still were telling the kids that you're protected when you're having sex. And if you could look at the pill and then the advent of when venereal diseases started coming out, women started having more sex unprotected and everything else with the pill because they were unleashed. Right. And remember now, Roe versus Wade wasn't until 1973. So having an abortion wasn't like a fucking let me just walk down the block thing. You know, so they had to be a little bit more, not just chaste, but a little bit more careful with who they have sex with and how they had sex. Because getting pregnant was shit, man, could be almost a deadly experience unless you was going to have the kids. So the pill, and it's not just the black community, the pill impacted the whole country.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we say is it negative or positive, it depends on how it was wielded for the individual person.
No, you can't say based on individual. I'm talking about for the whole community.
I don't think first of all, I don't think birth control pill was bad in and itself, if that's what you're asking me.
So you think it was a net positive that some people just misused it?
Yes, not some people. It was the stigma. Was being misused. It was like the overcorrection of it. You know what I'm saying? It had a lot of benefits to it, especially like women to tell you. A lot of times it was to help them to regulate their periods. You know what I'm saying? So it had other benefits. Just like when the last pills of it. One of the women will be able to say it in the audience, or the first pills that were like what they call sugar pills or something like that.
Last 5 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I had 5 sisters taking it.
Yeah. But it was the overcorrection of it. Absolutely.
Wait, come on, BM, you keep taking down my shit, man. Oh, damn.
What the hell you doing, BM? You trolling? How to go?
We talking for the chart, man. We got one.
Hey man, I'm just trying to help your black ass.
Yeah, well, I'll call you. I'll say help. I'll call uncle and shit.
Hey man, let me say this real quick though before E-Man cook. I think that when it comes to the birth control thing, guys, if you go look at what that does to a woman's body, bro, like it will scare the shit out of you to know that if your daughter or your niece, I know we prevent pregnancy, but that birth control fucks them up really bad, bro. It really does, bro.
I was gonna get on that part of it, and one of the things that was one, and so that's why it was harder for me to say, because not just the hormones, it was the early pill. So they didn't have all the data that they have now in 1960. It probably was more strong than it needed to be. And remember, we're black. We have natural inclination to not trust people trying to give us fucking pills.
For sure.
Right? I mean, throughout the years, man, they've been experimenting on blacks and stuff. So
it's hard for me to take an aspirin.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but it had a benefit of not getting you pregnant, but it also gave women another leg up to have sex indiscriminately, more like men.
Yeah.
And one of the things we do know is women like trying to be like men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
they was already fucking. That's the part that y'all keep trying to bait. Like, they was named the baby boomers, and you trying to say they went fucking.
I'm not saying that. I am not saying that. So let's not go down that path.
I told you, either man, how you try to.
They were fucking,
right.
Man. We know they were fucking. But women and men been fucking.
And it was out of control. And it was out of control. And they said we got to find a way to be able to try to control it. They had a whole bunch of. Look at the teen pregnancy in this time. It was out of control.
No, the teen presidency didn't come until later.
Right. Yeah. It was with me. That was with me either, man.
So y'all said baby boomers didn't have no teen pregnancy. That's what y'all said.
75% of kids in the fucking baby boomer generation were born in two-parent household. That's not my statistic. Look up anywhere you want to look. I mean, but
that's because they had shotgun weddings. See, y'all don't want to tell the whole truth. They was fucking, got pregnant, and then they did a shotgun to get married. It said that they a two-parent household.
Okay, Uncle, let's take this chart down so we could calm.
I can't even see the chart.
Why
can't I see the chart?
Because your head too big, man.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Anyway, I don't want that one. What's a good one? He had a couple. Let's put this one up there. So here's the point. I want to fast forward back to the topic. I don't want to get stuck on back to the topic about the vanishing black family. There's a guy out here in 1986, and what you missed, we went through the 1986 documentary, The Vanishing Black Family. So it's a brother named Delano Squires. So he's actually writing a book. It's going to come out sometime on June 16th. And he has a clip that I want you to show. But before we get to him, I do want to show one more clip of this young lady back in 86 and what she had going on. And I think it's beneficial because she's going to say a lot of shit that you guys could recognize. All right.
Began telling young people they mattered. At first, he ran after-school programs.
Myself again, myself.
Now he and his wife, Carolyn, head the International Youth Organization, a community center in the heart of Newark.
So listen to this woman.
James Wallace is a surrogate father to many kids. Carolyn Wallace is a surrogate mother. She's seen too many children grow up and stumble, not to be angry.
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Your parents said, Bill, you better not do that. Don't put that plug over there. You're going to get hurt or whipping, right? Your parents did it. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? Now, if we have a generation of that kind of thing happening and the kids are coming up under that, then we got another generation of lost young people.
Why are there so many single-parent households?
Have you been walking the streets in Newark lately? All our young men are out on the corner, just absolutely doing nothing. That's the problem.
Why, what's happened to those young men? What's happened to the black man?
It's like they've given up. It's like they're really not a part of what's going on.
Why are they not? Why have they given up?
There aren't that many jobs, okay, for the laborer like there used to be. And they're just totally unmotivated. And society has made living for the women without the husband or without the male easy.
Oh,
there you go. That this is undeniable, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just a couple of guys on the panel talking about it, and this is a woman saying this shit, not a man saying we're bashing women, blaming it on women.
You're not gonna acknowledge nothing she said before that?
No, I'm saying we could get back to the man on the side, but the point really is women very rarely come out and say, this is part of what she said before that about why the men were on the corner.
Yeah.
This is part of that answer.
Yeah, welfare. I think welfare is not the best thing for everybody.
Tell me why.
Because it provides you with some kind of income that you sooner or later just settle for. I know I was on welfare. I've been on welfare.
Are you suggesting that we do away with welfare?
No, I'm saying it has to be upgraded. For instance, I have some young people here that are on welfare, okay, but would like to work. But they can't work and make a coin because everything you make is taken away from your check.
Can you push the solution even further back? Is there any way to stop the cycle of teenage pregnancies?
That's so difficult to even talk about.
Yeah.
In my heart, I think I have a solution, and I know it may rub people the wrong way. But I believe that teenage pregnancy cannot be stopped by programs. It has to be morals, and morals come from God. And somewhere along the line, the Black family kind of strayed away from that. And I believe we need it.
You say the moral values have changed.
Oh, yes. It's morally acceptable to have babies. It was not morally acceptable.
So, all right, so let me just stop you here for a second. To me, this is where the Black church failed. Right? If she's talking about God and preach, because there was still a time in the 80s when a lot of Black people still went to church.
Facts,
yeah. Right? And what I'm saying is, I think it started to be overwhelmed by women. And you can't be talking this shit from the pulpit and expect them to put their tithes in it.
What? Oh, okay. Okay, so listen. Did the Black church fail if I leave it?
What you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying?
I said if the Black church doesn't keep me as a man in the church, did it fail?
Yes.
That
Yeah,
is crazy.
because man,
That is crazy.
if the okay, let's just say if the black man, I mean, any man is supposed to be the so-called, I guess, biblical connection and leader and wisdom advice giver to a family, right? And he leaves it. The probably the only covenant in the black community is maybe a church, right, where people should be able to go and pass information and spread knowledge and uplift each other. So if he leaves, right, because most young black men, they go into just what, abyss or the streets. You in America, so now it's women there, and women are based off emotion and just based off the behaviors, right, that the preacher, the word that he's given them is not, hey, don't leave the men, because when they leave men, they leave their children. These boys are coming from women.
Oh my God, Coach Fur, have you been to a church in 10 years?
Yes, I've been to a church. The last church I went to, I was put out because they was doing some type of secret meeting, and this is a Christian church.
They put you out the church.
Yes, they sung a song. They said, "Okay, if you're a visitor, get out. We're going to have a meeting," and they just walked.
Oh, they didn't. So they didn't put you out. They just told you that they was about to have a members only section, and you wasn't invited. You said like they put you out the church and told you couldn't come back to the church.
You got kicked out.
Yeah, I got
no,
kicked
he did not. No, see, that's what. They just asked him to leave that day. He could have went back to the church.
Well, can I ask a question then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
So, if he left the church 10 years ago for whatever reason, church did something that he didn't like, he left the church, and he was able to find a way for him to be able to manage over the next 10 years.
But that was the problem.
Is it his responsibility? Is it his responsibility to now like get the church to now make him feel better?
But
I think y'all missing what I'm saying, right? First of all, nobody can keep nobody. Like, if a woman want to leave you, we all agree that woman can leave you. There's nothing you can do. It's the same thing with a. I work with a church. I done seen black men get up because a pastor was telling him the truth. Like, I don't know why we think that black men just want to be accountable. And I'm telling you, I've literally
seen. You saying black men are not accountable?
Finish. No, most of them are not.
Damn, that's fucked up. Okay.
It's the truth.
Come on, man. That ain't the truth.
Say that it is, right? So this is where we have a problem at. Women and men have veered far away from the building of family. So it's kind of like when you blaming men, it's kind of like, yes, you have to give that equal to the women too. But we got to parse this thing out. This is why we have to kind of like let the video drive us and let our pain be able to narrate because we go too far out there.
Yeah.
So he was speaking to what she was saying, and you got to have your mind in 1986 first. If you wasn't born in 1986, listen to our pain.
I was just thinking how.
Can I at least make my statement that I was trying to make?
Wait, hold on for a second, though, E-Man. Because we listen, you can say, we're gonna let you say it, but JT, you was spot on. There's no attribution here. This woman is talking about both sides. She's talking about the whole thing, man. She's talking about how men are in a corner, how women are. She's just talking about the situation, and we got to get off of. If I mention women twice, I got to mention men twice. If I mention, we're not here for that. We got a fucking problem in the black community, and we all have that bill to pay. All of y'all. I already paid mine. You know, some of y'all, you know, all of y'all, man. I mean, I'm saying that's why we're showing this thing. I started this out, and y'all didn't come. You know, some of y'all weren't here. I said, I am not going to get back in the tit for tat. That is the woman's fault or the man's fault, this and that. I don't want to do that.
But I just want to address. I want to address what the problem is. The problem is you can say man or woman. When black people turned their back on God,
okay.
When they walked away from the establishment, this is when the vanishing of the church went away. I mean, the vanishing of the family went away. It's the turning the back on God. It's not the women. It's not the men. It's just y'all don't have God in the center of your relationship anymore. For the most of it.
Okay, fine. So if you would bear with me for a second, I have a guy who says all of this shit should be God-centered. I just wanted to get through this lady. I wanted to go to the next thing because he's writing a book. And at the end, all he talks about, one of the biggest things is that we as a community have left that part behind. But let's let her finish because she hits a couple more points, and I think she's pretty good at it.
That's hurting the Black family.
What I hear you saying is that even though racism may have brought about these circumstances, even though society may have created conditions that are terrible, you're saying you have to be responsible. You have to practice discipline and self-restraint.
That's right. We are destroying ourselves. Now, it might have been motivated and plotted and seeded with racism, but we're content to be in this well now, okay? We're just content to be in this mud, and we need to get out of it. There aren't any great white people running around in this block tearing up stuff. It's us. We've got to stop doing that.
Does the civil rights movement, which came to its peak in the 60s, have anything to say to this?
The civil rights to the young people now is a foreign word. What does it really mean to them? They don't have any knowledge about it.
The issue now is different, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm quite sure it is. If Martin Luther King were alive, he would not be talking about the things I think he was talking about, labor and all that. I think he'd be talking about the Black family.
And you're worried about the survival of the Black family. You think it's precarious?
I guess it's going to be an endangered species.
Even though the messages...
All right, in 86, she says they're endangered species.
Man, this
it definitely is. Go ahead.
It resonates so much with me because I just remember we had to watch this in school.
All right, so she got a little bit more. Let me go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
Kids are getting from society seems to say, do anything you want to. The United States government of New Jersey, a white man like Moyers cannot step in and say to young Black kids, it's not right to have children out of wedlock. Welfare needs to be changed. You've got to take responsibility. Who's going to say these things to these kids?
Why can't you say?
They won't listen to me.
Doesn't make any difference. You got to say it anyway. They may not listen to me either. But I'm saying if you say it in your corner and I say it in my corner and everybody is saying it, it's going to be like a drum beat. And sooner or later it will sound. But it's not just for me to talk about. It's for all of us to talk about. And I think it's going to surpass colors. And you're not going to be safe. I'm not going to be safe. And nobody's going to be safe unless we all send out this drum beat. Hey, let's deal with it. Let's deal with the problem.
I think, man, she hit on so many good things, man. She was spot on.
It seemed like she predicted the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Just right on, sister. So either man left or he's gone.
Yeah. So, but what she was saying, man, it's like, remember, that's why I'm telling people sometimes when you look at things, like when she was talking about the kids back then that are now middle age and older now, like she I don't even think she's still living anymore.
No, she can't.
She would have taught me. She would have taught you, JT, how to get on the monkey bars. She would have been our mentor.
Yeah. So, but what she was saying, and even if you guys have never seen the whole thing, I implore you guys to watch the whole thing. It predicts like where we at now. You be like, damn. Now you get a kind of like you can get a gist of why we're at where we at also. But this whole thing of blaming generations, blaming women, blaming men, that ain't never got us nowhere. The same conversation, because that's just one of those in 86. You had another one that was in 84 that was in another city. Then you had one in Detroit. Like they used to do this a lot. And it's a lot of cities that they was doing that. But during that time, this is what Coach Ferg always talk about. Crack era.
Mm-hmm.
That was there. Like if you seen the whole thing, it was guys that was sitting there trying to be rappers, right? But this dude got a damn baby on the way and he abandoned his baby, but because his father abandoned him, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, man, this shit is crazy.
So I got another. So if we bring it up to the I showed all of this. I'm glad you guys came up, but I'm gonna show all this because let's bring it to 2026.
Let's go.
And let's bring it to 2026. So I got something for y'all. 2026.
And watch, you wasn't even alive in 1986. I was in high school.
So this lady's interviewing this brother, Squires.
The state of the Black family is one of the most urgent issues of our day. It includes the decline in marriage and birth rates. Delano Squires has researched the reasons behind those statistics. He is director of the Richard and Helen DeVos Center for Human Flourishing at the Heritage Foundation, and he's also the author of the brand new book, The Vanishing Black Family: How Welfare and Feminism Made Marriage Optional and Children Vulnerable. Delano joins me now. Welcome, Delano.
Thank you for having me.
I want to dive into this very fascinating conversation. First of all, can you tell me what are some of these challenges facing the Black family today?
So let me start with a few statistics, a few sobering statistics. So today in America, about 70% of Black children are born to unmarried parents, and about half live with a single parent, typically a single mom. So what we have is a family structure where to be a Black child who was born to and raised by your married biological parents through your 18th birthday is now the exception, not the norm. This is the case as you go from state to state, city to city, and even where I am right here in Washington, D.C., it's 77% of Black children are born to unmarried parents. And what's interesting about that is, particularly for a city that talks so much about racial equity, it's actually 93% of white children who are born to married parents. So that's a 70 percentage point gap. Damn. And one of the things that I talk about in the book is the fact that family structure is one of the few areas and few social outcomes where progressives on the left have no interest in discussing, racial disparities or racial inequities. So that's part of what we see right now. And again, just because a child is born to unmarried parents doesn't mean that they don't have a father involved or any of those other things. But what it does mean is that there are millions of children starting life within a family structure that does not provide the ideal environment for them to flourish.
Absolutely. And you argue that the Black family instability is not simply an economic problem. Can you speak to that issue?
Yeah, so one of the things that I looked at is some of the data from past decades, and what you saw in 1960, the Black poverty rate was about 55%. In that same year, about 80% of Black children were born to married parents, so born within wedlock. You fast forward, and what you see is almost a scissor effect, where as poverty has gone down, the non-marital birth rate has gone up. So now the Black poverty rate is about 18%. And as I said, close to 70% of Black children are born to unmarried parents. So one of the things that I say in the book, I pose a hypothetical question. I said, okay, who would be more likely to be married and have 5 children with his wife? The typical NBA player or NFL player today, or his great-great-grandfather who was a sharecropper in the Deep South in the 1940s? And the answer obviously is the latter, which tells me that it's not purely a financial issue. Sure, economics are important. I believe that particularly for a man to be ready for a family, he needs at the very least 3 things. 1, stable source of legal income. 2, someplace to lay his head at night. And 3, a stable mode of transportation.
You're on mute,
muted.
Do you guys agree with those 3 things he just said?
I done lived that my whole life, man.
I mean, I thought it was pretty reasonable.
Yeah, me too.
I lived it my whole life, man, growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, man. Once I became a teenager, and I'm old now, but yeah, I was born to married parents. My older sister was born to married parents, and I have 5 sisters all together, a couple of them younger than me. I'm probably the wildest kid my parents had, right? And my father was the wildest dude I knew. But didn't nobody mess with him. Wasn't no bullying me. Wasn't no bullying my sisters. He put me on responsibility. He didn't have to do a lot of explanation. And ever since I would say, because I was playing sports throughout high school, but once I went to college, I pretty much became non-dependent on my parents. I wanted to create my own, build my own, and at this age, when I look back, the things that I've been able to do just based off family, taking pictures in church with my grandparents and stuff.
Before you go down, because I want to get back to this guy though. So, I mean, for me, I had my mother and my father until I was 8. My father, when my mom's passed, I went to live in a communal house kind of with my grandparents.
Yeah,
but they had 3 of their daughters living there. So I lived with my aunts and a whole slew of cousins. So me and my brother went there. So, and my father came around every so often, passed the money to his sister, because I was on the maternal side, who she became our guardian. I don't know, JT, you have both of your parents though, right?
Yeah. Yep. Both of my parents.
Yeah. What about you, 100, if you don't mind asking?
My parents were together until my freshman year in high school, but my dad was in the Army, so TDYs and deployments and all of that.
Yeah, good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, but you had a fair amount of
Yes, I will definitely, for the record, I will say that I definitely fall into a class of being blessed to be able to say that I have the relationship with my father that I had.
But let me ask you, in your time though, you had there was a lot of your peers that didn't have that.
Oh yeah, no. I was listening to a comedian the other day, and he was making the joke about like how black people make fun of you for having your father. Like niggas will try and make fun of me for the fact that my dad would come and pick me up from practice. Like, oh, your daddy gonna come get you? Like, yes, nigga. Like,
you got a wholesome house, nigga.
That's fun. That's great.
Yeah, there was a nice time period in middle school where I used to fight people for something like that. Like we used to really fight.
That's funny. So my daughters though, man, I mean, all of the people they met through their high school years, so many of those kids, black, white, and indifferent. It was just one parent household. A lot of them. They said, man, they got a lot. You got both your parents are together. Matter of fact, my house was a hub for my youngest daughter because she went to school down the street, and so when they ever stayed late, the parents all the kids used to come to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Payne, there's something to what my man is saying too, where it just gets to a point where, these talking points is just, I think they ruined us, man. That the way that the mindset is now, that when he said that, in the 60s, 50% of the black community was living like like good times, but they were together, right? And as the time goes and people, then it went from 50% to what did he say, 23% or something like that?
Wow, yeah.
And then it was 70% of people not even together. And they having children is not together. Do you know how that is traumatic?
Yeah. It's catastrophic.
That's catastrophic. It's like
diabolical.
And when we say that we're in trouble, people be looking at us like, y'all niggas is just making a big fuss out of nothing. And I'm looking like, damn, this is
let's let him keep going a little bit.
But economics is not the primary driver of why black family formation patterns look the way they do today.
And Delano, can you talk about the specific 1960s welfare policies that did the most to incentivize single parent homes? I mean, that was the norm. I grew up as an African-American woman under such a household.
Yeah, so what you had in the 1960s, particularly in 1965, is President Lyndon Johnson's Great Society programs, right? This is part of his war on poverty. And what you saw is welfare, which was then AFDC, Aid for Dependent Children, Aid for Families with Dependent Children. What you saw is a program that previously was meant for widows or women whose husbands could not work for one reason or the other, transformed into an open-ended cash transfer program that just existed in perpetuity. You also saw the feminization of poverty and the racialization of poverty. You have groups like the National Welfare Rights Organization that said, no, poverty is a woman's issue that disproportionately impacts Black women. So you saw, in some respects, a recruitment onto the welfare rolls of Black women, but with a very specific provision, which is that, one, if you were married, you could not get access to this money. And even if you had a man in the house who was not your husband, you could not get access to this money. So it incentivized household dynamics where you had an unmarried mom raising children on her own. That was the only way generally speaking, that you could get access to welfare.
Mm.
So what that
Hey, before and anybody who wants to see if art imitates life, watch the movie Claudine. Is it Claudine?
Yeah, it's Claudine.
Yeah, 1973 or something like that. And it depicts a real life scenario about her having like 6 kids. I don't know how many different fathers, and James Earl Jones being the wannabe stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a deep. And he couldn't leave his shoes there and shit for the inspector come around. Oh man,
Yeah, that shit is good. Claudine that's another one where people, if you want to really get some real, that right there depicted.
Yes, it did.
Man,
what that did in effect was displace men, and in this case, black men, from their rightful God-given role as providers for their home, and that set into motion a decades-long sort of pattern of family formation that moved men out of their primary vocations as husband and father and moved the government, both through elected officials and unelected bureaucrats, into that role as a substitute head of household.
And Delano, how do modern, quote, guaranteed income programs continue to exclude or diminish the role of fathers?
Yeah, this is something that I'm starting to look at more. In the book, particularly in chapter 2, where I write about welfare, I start with a story about a program called Strong Families, Strong Futures, which is here in Washington, D.C. And I describe how the pilot program gave $10,800 to new and expecting low-income moms. None of these moms were married. All of them were African American. And the first person that the Washington Post, when they did a story on it, the first person that they profiled was a woman they described as a 27-year-old stay-at-home mom, now of 3 kids. She had just had her 3rd child. 27. But then it said she was in a subsidized apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. She was on WIC, SNAP, and TANF, and now in this program. And then it hit me that when it said stay-at-home mom, the husband, quote unquote, that was being described was actually the government. Now, she was one of the 2. Her story was one of the 2 instances in this Post article where the word father was used. One is said the father of her 3 children went along when she took a $6,000 luxury trip to Florida. And the second is when it said that the fathers of one woman's children, that the fathers were not involved in their lives. And that was it.
Yeah, but see how you collect 6,000. You were on all of these things, and you took a $6,000 trip.
Yeah,
get you that man. Jesus.
It was free money. It was free money, and I think he speaks to the core of how it's actually the playbook is played out. He's speaking to the action of it, and I think a lot of people don't speak to the action and reasons why, right? Because he just said, if the government becomes the artificial daddy, you the dad, the government's your daddy.
Yeah.
They're incentivizing. These are 27-year-old adult women. These are not 18, 19-year-olds, right? And saying, keep the fathers away intentionally, waste the child's future money, you know what I'm saying? And then just continue to just be reckless and we'll pay for it. And the black man.
And even in the announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry, but just think about this part of it, right? The fact that it's easy to see the human engineering in this, right?
Yes.
It's so easy if you look at it, maybe not when you're a part of it, but if I give you, let's just say I'm giving you 10, 12, maybe $25,000 to live and a subsidy for your apartment, all that kind of stuff for you to live. And you could, and food stamps so you could eat. Say you find a guy, but he makes 50 grand a year. Now he's making some money, but if you accept that guy, some of these benefits go away. Now, the human part of the whole shit is that when you interact with another human being, there's friction, even if you love them, even if they get along, even if it's a man on his square, he's going to want shit from you that you didn't have to do before. because the government is your daddy, but he's only there when it's check time, and all you got to do is follow his rule. And so you can see that there's no incentive for the family to get back together. There's just none. There's absolutely none. And I'm not even pointing the fingers, it's because it's human nature to understand that even if a woman's with a man who's down on his luck, right? A man down on his luck is a miserable son of a bitch to be with.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. It's if a guy can't make his family, his ego was wrapped up in his job, his ego is wrapped up in providing, and if he can't do that, he ain't that easy to live with. And if I can move him out and get those checks and nobody's coming to call him, guess who's getting kicked out?
Yeah.
Do y'all know this? Like all of those benefits that a woman receives, right? If you identified as the father, y'all can look it up in all y'all states, but I think it's nationwide. If she receives any type of government assistance, and even if you're not paying, they're putting that on the man's tab.
Yeah.
He has to repay all of that regardless of whatever age the baby is. If the baby's 50, if she had that in her record, the man will be responsible because they're going to place it as care for his child. They suspend your license. You can't buy.
What do you mean if you're ducking child support? What are you talking about?
Yes, if you're ducking, you don't have to be ducking child support. If she gets free government money and say you're the father, then they're going to put that on your name. Even if you don't owe her money per se, they will recollect the money that you owe for their services.
So what they would do is they would retroact it. I know in Michigan, I can just speak on Michigan. What happened is that they're retroacted from the time that the baby was born, and all the way up until 18. But that's only in state. All the states they're all different.
So
Go ahead.
So you're actually saying that you're not on child support or anything like that. You get put on record after the kid is a certain age. They could come after you.
If she's collecting the resources that you just mentioned, if she's getting paid like WIC and what is it, the other little subsidies and all of that, food stamps, that's going to be charged to the man.
I never heard that before.
Well, look it up.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm saying it's a national thing.
So I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened to me.
All right.
When my son was born, his mother and I were not together. My son, we were not. There was no child support arrangement of anything of the sort that was set by the court or anything. There was a time period where she ended up signing up for food stamps and TANF. Once that happened, the state automatically started looking for me.
Yep.
So once the state started looking for me, what they already had on paper was retroactive from when the day my son was born, and then retroactive for the 9 year. No, because at that time she was 10. So retroactive for the 10 years my daughter had already been born. So by the time they show up to the door, we already talking about 10 years back pay for one and 3 years back pay for the other one. So when this nigga don't pay his child support, no, come on, cuz like don't do me like that. You showed up with 40,000 at the door when you showed up.
Yeah.
So now in this conversation, I really think that it's amazing. I really love the human engineering in it, like you said, that it gets created as if this is a black man problem. And I think the greatest example of how this is not just a black man problem is COVID. Because everybody and their mama, as soon as they had the opportunity to stop working and get those unemployment checks, once they found out that they was making more money on unemployment than they was at their fucking job, everybody was ready to quit their fucking job and get that free money.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Now, there were a few niggas like me that was like, nah, hell no, I'm keeping my ass at work. I'll take the pay cut just to stay at work because that had more value to me than any of that shit y'all was talking about. Because exactly what happened, what I figured to happen is exactly what the fuck happened. Once all that shit got lifted and everybody had to start bringing their ass back to work, now niggas are showing up to work late. They forgetting their uniform. They don't even remember that. You niggas is lazy and half-assing. As a manager that has done a lot of interviews, hiring and firing, I'm telling you, these motherfuckers don't want to work for nothing. I can't tell you how many times again, social engineering. I can't tell you how many times it has been the case where I do have a black woman that I'll hire, and not even 2 days within her working period, she already come into some paper. Hey, you mind signing this for me so I can take this to my social worker? Like all 2 days in already. Yeah, fill this out for me. How many hours I'm getting, and because the great thing is because when they go through the interview process, oh yeah, you know, I'm in school in the daytime, so I can only work these hours to these hours, and I need these 2 days off. So now I can only schedule you for 25 hours max.
Yeah.
You're guaranteed to not be full time. So now you get to do this bullshit, oh my God, it's a cycle with them because they'll come and work, do their job for about 90 days because they know if they work the job for about 90 days, they get their benefits, and if they quit, the benefits go up.
Yeah.
Or I mean, not if they, if they get fired, not if they quit.
Get fired. If they quit, they ain't get nothing.
If they quit, they ain't getting shit. But if they get fired, and that's oh boy, you could always tell when a motherfucker ready to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Also, and you kind of hit on our pain about the man that actually was doing well, that started doing well. So in Detroit, you had those subsector men, right? They worked in a plant. One of the big threes they worked in. So when they started dating women, and those women that were on, on state assistance, the thing was that those men, it was cool that they didn't go to that woman's house. You know what I'm saying? The woman came to his house. But the problem was that it rendered another problem with women leaving their kids in the house for weeks and days at a time because they out here chasing some man around. So that was a big issue they had also.
Well, listen, tell you, I'm gonna play some. I mean, this guy has so much stuff in this thing. I know the game started, but I got it on the side over here. You know.
Oh, I need to turn it on right now.
All right, so let's go ahead and let him. Go ahead. He got some more stuff, man. He's just throwing.
Strong futures. It was all about providing funding to give new moms, financial autonomy and independence. There was no mention of fathers whatsoever, and I've seen this in programs in Philadelphia, in Atlanta, and now one program is called the Bridge Project, which has different sites nationwide, talks about providing money to moms and their children, and it's all done under the guise of strengthening families, but there's never any mention of the responsibility and role that men are to play as fathers to their children.
Wow. I know, because I've seen interviews you've done, that you get a lot of pushback from progressive Black leaders in politics.
What's up?
You know, this, when I watch this stuff, I get sort of emotional, right? Because in my job, this was part of what I had to do in reference to Black men, right? To let them know that it's almost like they create these programs, supposed to be a parental program, right? To enhance the parents' overall lifestyle involvement of the child, but they never included the fathers. So I was the one that would be notified of the program, right? And then I could also be 99% of the time, I was also the one that a lot of people that work with those clients never informed the father. So I spend a lot of time making sure and informing the father that they can be a part of this program. It's just that the system won't tell them that they are, and the women will do it. And it seems like he's not even being engaged, but he's not even being aware that he is supposed to be a part of that. So just odd that he says that. Like, people make millions of dollars.
Okay. Let's go ahead and continue.
And they remain silent for the most part on the breakdown of the Black family. Why is that?
I think quite simply, family formation is one of the few areas that they cannot blame on systemic racism, and their entire framework for activism is built on that. The way I put it is this: they cast all of the problems facing Black America as either the result of inequitable resource distribution or systemic racism, which is why all of their solutions fall into one of two categories: bigger government or better white people. Now, when it comes to forming families, they don't have that option. They can't blame it on, lack of resources or systemic racism. Because addressing this issue would require them taking some sense of accountability and responsibility for repairing the damage that's been done over the last 60 years of bad policy and anti-family values. So I think they would rather ignore this issue, because to many of them, talking about the decline in marriage and the breakdown of the Black family feels too much like airing dirty laundry. So they would rather ignore it and focus on everything else. So part of the reason I wrote the book is to call these leaders, not call them out in a sense of combativeness, but to say, look, you as leaders, you have a responsibility. And when the NAACP is willing to invest resources to partner with Hollywood, quite frankly, B and C list actors to quote unquote take responsibility for racism, but they won't partner with Black actors or musicians or entertainers or people of public note to take responsibility for our families, that's when I have a problem.
Yeah.
So
right. So this is one of the things that I wanted to say when I talked about these 4 pillars, right? Is that he hit on all of them, right? Especially this one with the government subsidies, but also the politics of it. And the people that we trusted, and gave our votes for the last 60 something years to actually do the right thing. And what I'm talking about is in 71, when they had the Congressional Black Caucus, they haven't done anything to strengthen the Black family. No legislation, no nothing, right? In this box over here to the right, where it has the 5 or 6 times when the Democrats and the liberals, who are supposed to have our backs, had all seats of power, the Senate, the House, the presidency, and the more lenient Supreme Court. They didn't do anything to strengthen the Black family when they had the power to do so. That includes Barack Obama. That includes all of these guys who we praise and give all our votes to. They're letting us drown as people as long as they get the votes. We only see them every 4 years or every election time. And then after that, they're gone. So I'm just saying, man, it's just a bad thing all the way around. And how we've been used and duped. So I'd like to see how this guy's book comes out.
It's high time that they be called to account and be called to explain why family structure is the one area of racial disparity that they will not touch.
Wow. Can you talk about, when it comes to the collapse of marriage in the Black community, about the widespread ripple effects in the Christian community and beyond?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't delve specifically into the stability of marriages, particularly among Black Christians, but just anecdotally, I know several people who describe themselves as born again believers, who have been married and now divorced. There are Christian couples who I'm sure right now are doing their best to instill biblical family values into their children.
Yeah.
And some number of them have seen their children depart from what it is that they've taught them. So I think this is an issue across the church, so more broadly speaking. But yeah, I think part of the reason, again, that I wrote the book is to appeal to these, specifically to Black Christian couples, and particularly to Black Christian men. Because this is married Black Christian men, one, embody the types of values that I promote in the book. As Christians should embrace a biblical definition and biblical sexual ethics around sex, sexuality, marriage, and family. And 3, believe in the God who is the architect of marriage. Because ultimately, when I talk about a blueprint for rebuilding the Black family, this is not a blueprint.
This is what Either Man was talking about. So he's going to go into that. And what's the center? And and it's true. I mean, you have to have your marriages grounded, for me, in the vows, right? We say those vows in front of God and family. And so you're saying, that you're making a vow to stay married and all this other kind of good stuff and all the other stuff that goes with it.
That I am coming up with, right?
Yeah.
I'm going back to the foundational documents, because every structure has both an architect and a blueprint. And part of the reason we're in the trouble that we are, both in this instance and just in terms of family dynamics across the country, is because we have rejected both the architect and his blueprint for marriage.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head when you said that. And I love the fact that you're calling for a long-term, multi-generational strategy to reverse a 3-generation decline in marriage. Yes. What is this strategy?
So what I say in the book is several things. One, we have to reframe the issue for key institutions. When I talk about reframing the issue, what I mean is this.
Right, before he gets started, gentlemen, I know we are kind of looking at the game a little bit, but with his solution that he's going to come up with, let's talk about what he says, because I'm not so sure that it's going to get us where he thinks it's going to go, but at least he's trying to come up with a solution to the issue, right? Yeah. So we could at least talk about that. So I want to listen to it. Let this play out.
Okay. For far too long, issues around family and family structure have focused on the desires or interests of men and women. So you on one side, you'll have the men blaming the women and saying it's the impact of feminism. On the other side, you'll have the women blaming the men and say, well, a lot of guys don't want to get married, or if they do get married, they're not faithful. Or some women will say, well, I don't actually need a husband because now I'm financially independent. And what I argue is that we need to reframe this issue to focus on the needs and rights of children. And I use the language of rights intentionally because rights always come with corresponding obligations. And let's say I was a single man. I'm not. I'm married and I have 4 kids. But if I was a single man and I said, well, I have a right to the family of my choosing. Well, if I don't create that family, if I don't get married and have kids with my wife, then that means I'm expecting someone else to provide, in this case, either reproductive material or reproductive capacity for me to have the children of my desires. But no such right actually exists. Right? It's not a biblical right, and it's not even according to natural law. I don't have a right to something that I can't produce. But children do have a right to their parents because every child is a living embodiment of exactly one man and one woman. And the act of creation comes with an obligation towards stewardship. So that means that one man and that one woman have a right. That child has a right to the affection, protection, connection, correction, and direction of that one man and one woman who helped create him or her. And what I argue in the book is that right is best exercised in a loving, safe, secure, low conflict home with a married mom and dad. Absolutely. So that's reframing the issue. Once we have the issue properly framed, now it's about promoting it and taking it to key institutions. First and foremost is the church. Yes. And I'm critical of the Black church in chapter 5 of my book, because I argue particularly the most progressive Black preachers have distorted biblical doctrine around the family for the sake of political power, for the appearance of social justice and political power.
So let me stop it just a little bit on this one. So as you heard his premise, right? I said I kind of did. Now I heard it again. And I agree with the fact that if you're going to have kids, that both parents should have an obligation to give them the best chance to succeed. And the best way that happens is if you're married, living in the same household, and going down a path that you both agree to or negotiate, whatever that is. And so something else came to my mind, because there was a concerted effort to actually say, well, you don't really need that for the kid to grow up, right? That's part of it. And you'll hear that in the diet. Well, the women will say, I don't need the man. The men say, I don't necessarily need to be in the house. I'll just provide my money. So that premise that he's talking about, I think was naturally there, but it was attacked and kind of defeated because they stopped talking about that in the church. I don't know the last time they sat up in the bully pulpit in my church and actually talked about marriage.
Yeah, I think that, because the concept of marriage has been lost throughout the generations, right? So, and that basically most people didn't even know, like, if they were, anywhere from 45 to you know, 18, they really didn't even know that marriage was more of a religious concept. And so when you're talking about having some form of structure, I personally believe that it does come from the biblical standpoint. I think that I think that was probably one of the pillars that knocked down the concept of staying with someone, being actually dedicated to them, actually understanding and being true to your vows and things like that.
Yeah,
So
you're
when
right.
people
The
stop
kids are not
doing that,
enough. You'll hear that the kids are not enough to stay together.
and yeah, so but yes, when you hear what people are talking about when it comes down to marriage, happiness is the number one thing that's in the center of it. You're like, wait, first and foremost, there's going to be joy. It's going to be ebbs and flows. These are the things, but they talk about more of what they get out of it instead of what they put into it. And I think that if more people understood the biblical terms, because you got a whole bunch of people that are sit back and go to church and they crack the Bible open, but they don't even get understanding. They lean on their own understanding. And when you hear them talk about the Bible, you're like, that's not what it said. Your understanding is screwed and, it's just messed up. So I kind of agree with what he's saying. I need to get his book.
Yeah, it comes out on the 16th. I looked for it. So I was actually, when I first saw this, I was going to buy it and try to have. I wanted to read it before this, but it's not going to come out to the 16th.
Well, let me know, because I tend to forget a lot of things, but just let me know. Mention it to me, Arpain, I'm definitely going to do that, man.
Yeah, I'll mention it to you. What, you got anything on this, Coach?
Listen, man, this is all part of the whole systematic programming over the last 60 years. It's just another layer to it, right?
Yes,
because he even mentioned how the church's word even changed. These high profile, the messaging even changed from family to like go out and be your sisterhood, almighty, independent, super fly goddess or whatever, right? That's the problem, right? Because even the churches fall under the governmental system. It's a nonprofit organization. They're obligated to preach the messages that they preach. We've seen it under this modern time where the black men, they've become more soft and feminist. It's more, it's more emotional degrading in a sense in our lifetime, right? And all of it, to me, you can't separate one without the other. You can't do it. And the fact that we still talking about it in our latter age, and it's scary because most black people don't think beyond this.
You just said something there, Coach Fur.
I'm not. Listen, I'm old. Let me say something. I'm old enough that I won't see the end.
Be right back, fellas. Hold on.
Okay.
The end of the day, but I got a 23-year-old son, and I work with a lot of young people. So the fact that their adult programming from the parents and peer, just the media, it's not really encouraging for them. It's more like continue to love the celebrity, go into the church to give them all your. It's a waste of time right now.
Yeah, it's funny, man, that the black men said the boomers and the Gen Xers. But you said something important, though, man. And I gotta make sure I remember it. In terms of, it was a good point too about the marriage. There's something about the marriage. You made a good point. I was going to stop you. I didn't want to interrupt, so I should have. Because it was a good point. Yeah, I should have. Because there's something about what we're talking about in terms of, this one part of it about the secularization of marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it used to be a religious ceremony, now really marriage is just like this coming together of you're making your partnership formal.
Yep.
And I think God has nothing to do with that.
Yep. You're right.
It really has nothing to do with it. And so the people are just getting together. So as long as you do your part, I'll do my part. And anything and once you fall down on your part, then that's grounds for us to dissolve whatever this partnership is. And
Right.
you know, and we don't have no obligation to God, and we certainly don't have any obligations to those damn kids. F those kids. Right?
Yes.
They got shirts, right? F those kids.
F those kids are paying.
Right?
And
It's just a damn shame. But right? How many times we hear that? F those kids.
But I think it's still part of the system of forget the father of your child, rely on me. Because 100 Watts spoke about it, right? Even in Chicago, right? And it's pretty much all over the country in these spots, right? You can only make a certain amount. You can get the free house. You can't have the father living in the home.
Right.
To work, you only gonna work part-time anyway because you have to be off work to go pick up your child from school. It's sort of like that little 25 hours. And then the laws changed where you had to work at least 25 hours to get food stamps and get these resources, right? And it's a bulk of adult Americans, young adult Americans who are not looking to advance through the college and the military and the workforce. They're looking to sort of skate their way through the adult life and not even provide the information for a younger child that they have to flourish beyond them. They seem to want to keep the chick because the kids is, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these parents' kids is getting slower and fatter and, you know, don't have motivation. But again, a difference when fathers are in the home raising a son or a daughter, the children have aspirations to be something other than,
you know, so, you know, just I agree with you. And so one of the things I wanted to add before I forget is that I think we need a sea change in who should be responsible for children while they're growing up. In terms of if we're split up, that the notion that the kids automatically should go with the mother, that needs to change, especially after a certain age. Especially if it's boys. And then when I say that, it's very important for girls as well. But we definitely need to change to see, because we have receipts on how single mother households, what kind of kids are being produced. And we got all these kind of savage kids out on the street in all these cities doing this so-called teen takeovers. I don't think that would happen if men were in charge of these kids. So after a certain formative years, if you have the family structure back together, and even if they break up, this whole notion that the kids should stay with their mother, that shit has to come to an end. It really does. That whole leaning towards a mother, I mean, if she's still breastfeeding, the kids are like under 3 years old, I could dig that. But when they get to like 5 years old, they start preschool, or I think the father should start having more opportunities to raise their kids. Put the onus on them, take that child support out of the way, and have the men take responsibility by having authority as well as responsibility over the kids. And I think we'll have much better children in the future. I do. That needs to be a part of everything. And everything that Delano said, and I'm just going to keep on going here, and this is everybody out there, what he said about centering the kids and giving them, being obligated to take care of them, we also need to attack the laws of the land. We need to get rid of no-fault divorce. We need to get rid of just unbridled alimony. We need to because everybody's working these days. Nobody needs to be taking care of another adult, right? So we need to put people in jail for paternity fraud. We should start doing things differently to help motivate men to want to get married again. And right now, there's no motivation for a lot of guys to ever get married because the system is inherently unfair. And for some guys, they don't care. But for a lot of men, it's very important that they hang on to whatever they built, and they shouldn't be able to lose it just because they got married. And that's the way it is right now. So, that's one of the things that has to happen. So there's a lot of things that we need to start to look at to re-incentivize getting married. And I think if everybody's honest, how many different sexual partners does it really take for you to know what you need to know? Who are you talking to, Coach? You talking to somebody. Anyway, other than that, so You out here?
Hey, great show, man.
Yeah,
For
man.
real.
Thanks for stopping
See
in.
you next forever, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for stopping up, man. I'll see you later, brother.
All right, peace out, man.
Yep, take it easy. Yeah, so like I said, JT said he's gonna be back. Well, we saw enough of my man. So the book is gonna be out, The Vanishing Black Family. I would say get a copy of that if you're concerned about where we're going. And if some of you guys are, thank you, Catelia. Yep, thank you. If some of you people are, 40s, and or younger, and you got children, you got people, this is the kind of stuff that you need to share with them to see, because it's the young people who have to change the direction of this. And we got to stop telling people that marriage is some kind of crazy drudgery that like a punishment. But how could it be worse being married than to have a kid that you're trying to raise by yourself? This shit doesn't make any sense to me, and I think we need to stop that narrative. We also need to stop the narrative that men and women shouldn't get married in their 20s. We need to, maybe not 21 or 22 if they don't have their stuff together, but men and women should be going through the struggles together. And the younger they do that, the more chances of success they'll have. Because when you get into your 30s and 40s, you're kind of set in your ways. So we were just kind of putting some parting shots up there. So you got some parting thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying as far as when it comes down to finding ways to make marriage, I don't know, to get people to understand the actual concept of what marriage is, and it's the core of building communities. We see what it does when you don't have enough people building communities. You just got a bunch of raggedy ass families. It's kind of like mishmash families. You know what I'm saying? So, and it took decades for this to happen. Yeah, man, we're in a deficit.
Yeah,
I'm paying. We so far behind the power curve right now when it comes down to that. Family reunions are going to just be meet and greets.
Yeah,
25 people.
We used to thrive on our family reunions.
Yeah.
And that older people started dying off. The younger people, now we have pockets of people who are close, of age, cousins. But we can't seem to get that big family reunion together because the young people they need to be satisfied on what they want to do. Like, you'll have a faction of family might want to go on a boat ride. Somebody might want to go here. First of all, you can't have a cruise for a family reunion because everybody can't afford that. So it needs to be a place where you have a main hotel and you have things around that venue, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to do it.
Yeah, it's damn near. Yeah, it's damn near. Like I have a family reunion in July, and it's not really a cruise ship. It's it's more of a local boat that we have where it's kind of like people do parties and venues on there and stuff.
Okay, is that a one-day thing or you don't live?
It's just a couple of hours. It's probably about 6 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
Yeah. See, I could dig that. I'm talking about family want to go on a real cruise.
Yeah, they're doing too much extravagant stuff, and people can't afford that stuff, man.
Yeah, you just want to get together and see the family.
Yeah, so basically, how it used to be was that we would have something where we have the meet and greet one day. We have a formal, what we call the formal. You dress up and had a little party, and everybody enjoy each other, and then the next day you probably will have a picnic. And, it depends. Some people do it for 2 days. Some people only do it for 1 day. Some people do it for the whole weekend. So I know in my family on Sundays, everybody, they all try to meet up at church and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But all of that is kind of diminished now because you got people trying to do too much extravagant stuff. And everybody is not in the same space like they used to be. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people moved away.
It wasn't that important to you would get your thing. The main thing used to be to have the family together.
Yeah.
And wherever the majority went, our family unions used to be so robust that, you know how you have family union, it was always friends of the family who always wanted to be there.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They used to vicariously live through the fact that, we had a big family we always had those people, man. We had a family union. It was an event for other people to come to.
Yep. That's just how it used to be for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I hear people talk about baby boomers, that's because the baby boomers had close families.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the dirt you think baby boomers were, they had property, they had families, and their cousins were close.
No, but I think people need to actually study the baby boomers because that was something that was huge in in time, bro. That's a huge pillar, bro. It's a lot of y'all. It's still a lot of y'all.
It's still a lot. And everybody, they want to get rid of us too. Say, get out of here.
And you the baby of the boomers. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, y'all need to probably really study these folks, man, because I don't think we can ever get to that ever again. We got the baby bust. It's the baby bust now.
The point is, we're not even having enough kids to have a baby.
Yeah.
And in fact, we're underneath the replacement rate.
Yes, absolutely.
And
it's just getting worse.
And it's getting worse. And it's funny, but I mean, I don't know how we get out of this thing. My man has a solution that he's looking at, but in order for Delano's solution to work about centering the kids, centering the family around our obligation to the children that we have, there's a lot of things that have to be put in place to get the programming out of both the men and the women's mind to actually do that.
Yeah.
Because it's going to mean that certain freedoms that everybody has grown accustomed to having by not really being connected to another person, a lot of that shit's going to go away.
Yeah.
From the standpoint that you can't just get up and go.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to, right? And I don't think that means as much for men. I don't think they always say we want to cheat, but women, I hate that fucking thing because women cheat as much or more than men do.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm just tired of hearing it, man. I mean, just from the fact that if men are these so robust cheaters, who are we cheating with?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who the hell are we cheating with? You know what I'm saying? It just bothers me when I hear these goddamn going, men ain't just cheating with them. So, you're all gay, so it's just the gay part. It's bullshit.
Oh, they got so many ways they can spin it, though.
Come on, man. And then they say, well, women cheat much better than men. Well, the truth of the matter is, the men that they're cheating with, they ain't gonna kiss and tell because they got a whole bunch of free pussy.
Yes. And the only thing they're gonna do is just dissolve out of your life when it's over with.
I mean, if a man's cheating with a woman, that woman, if she gets feelings, she said, I'm gonna call your wife.
She about to tear his whole life up.
Men don't do that.
Right.
If I'm a side dude to some married chick, I'm not telling nobody.
She killing your rabbit. She out there calling your kids school.
The Bunny in the Pot, the whole 9 yards, man. That movie was something else, man. Shoot, put the Bunny in the Pot. I think there was a lot of men who straightened up after that movie. So wait a minute, am I doing this right?
If I lay it on her, man, it's gonna be trouble for me.
Man, she told my man, you would just get this shit and run. No. Michael Douglas.
She was like, I don't roll like that.
Who you think I am?
Who you think I am?
Oh man.
Man.
Hey, man, now I'm gonna I gotta go back and see the movie again.
Oh, that movie is still deep, man. That movie is wow. What is that? Michael Douglas?
Yeah, Michael Douglas and Glenn Close.
Oh man.
That was classic.
That was a horror movie right there for me.
That was a good movie to watch with relationship or cheating. Another movie to watch with a marriage going bad is The War of the Roses.
Yeah.
The water roses,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Christ,
That's
man.
another one where you like, hold on, man. I
Because
did too much.
man, she ended up. That's Michael Douglas again.
Yes.
That's
You know,
right.
Michael Douglas played all of those suspenseful movies like that, man. Yeah.
Anyway, man. So, hey, any other? I don't know if you got your last words out, man. What?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
I'm good, man. I got it. You know me, man. This is the kind of show I have an AI song for this.
Oh yeah, I already know.
Well, I don't know which I have, but I don't know if you heard this one.
No, go ahead. You already have posted it?
No, I didn't post it. I was going to play it. I was just going to play it. Now you can stay up here and listen to it if you want.
Yeah, most definitely.
And yeah. So I usually, man, most people like BMU. He always hates my music because it's not fucking rap. But this is one about being a baby mama is not a flex.
Oh, okay.
And so here it goes. I gotta go ahead and share it first.
Mm-hmm.
And let me get this off. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say goodnight after that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can stay up there and say my last words. And it's kind of slow.
I carry weight that's heavy. It's on my chest. These sleepless nights can't find no rest. When I look in the mirror, I see my flaws. Being a baby mama, it's not a cause for applause. Love is deep, but the struggle cuts through. Every day's a fight, still I push on through. Being a baby mama is harder than it seems. In a world full of laughter, I'm drowning in dreams. No flex in the struggle, just hope in the fray. Living for tomorrow, day by day by day. I hear no whisper, they don't understand the sacrifices made to raise a child's hand. It's not just a title, it's a fight every day. Still I hold my head, keep the worries at bay. And in the shadows, I'll find my light. With every step I take, I'll rise. Take flight. Being a baby mama is harder than it seems. In a world full of laughter, I'm running in dreams. No flex in the struggle, just hope and the praise. Living for tomorrow, day by day by day. Yet I'm stronger in this tale that I read. In every heartache, I still believe.
Well, that was nice, man.
Yeah, man. Man, I have those toys, man, I play with.
Oh yeah. That's pretty cool, bro. That's pretty cool.
Right. I mean, I thought it was poignant, man, for today, man. You know, I come up with a lot of it, man. I'm having fun, but it's not cheap, man. You know, to come up with some of those things, try to, you know.
Sure.
But anyway, brother, hey, listen, man. I don't know the Knicks. They're in it. They're in it.
Hey, man, listen.
They're in it. You know, after they got rid of Detroit, you know, I knew that. You know.
Yeah, once they got once Cleveland got rid of us and they got rid of Cleveland, I was like, oh well.
That's how they got rid of Cleveland. Yep.
Yeah,
I think Detroit would have gave the Knicks a better chance, but Cleveland didn't have enough for them.
Nah, not at all.
Anyway, man, so the Spurs came out hot, and the Knicks stayed with them. So they gave them their best shot, and they couldn't shake them, right? So they're still there. So the Knicks is still in. They're only down by 4. Anyway, brother, man, I appreciate you coming up, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure, brother.
Yeah,
most definitely, man.
I don't know, man. I think, I mean, BMU used to have a song, an outro song. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he's still. Yeah, I don't know. He kind of changed them all.
I know he has one specifically for flipping tables.
Yeah,
but, you know, because once I click off, we just do a hard stop. You know what I'm saying? But that's
I did it on Friday. I was like, okay, I couldn't find the outro for it, so I just did a hard. And it was late anyway, so
yeah, man, it's a good show, man. I saw some of it, man. I got up. I said, you guys are having too much fun, but I should have stayed in bed. Yeah, that's for sure.
For sure.
You see this?
It's good seeing you too, sweetie pie.
Yeah, there you go, man. I tell you, man.
That's my girl.
You always come. I appreciate her, man, support as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support. She's
All
been
right,
supporting for a
everybody
minute.
on the audience, man, I appreciate y'all stopping by every Monday. We're here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Hop in, you know, we come up with another topic. This was a good one because this one is really poignant and it hits home.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're in this catastrophic state. And I really have a problem with the fact that all of the people that Black people support, none of them are talking about this devastating position that we're in.
Yeah.
You know, all of the so-called blackity blacks, you know, where's Bubblehead Sharpton about this?
Oh, yeah.
Where's Roland No Neck Martin?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ricky Smiley, or any of these guys. They only talk about when there's a black and white issue. Where's the NAACP? Where's the Congressional Black Caucus? Where's the Democratic Party that we give our support to? You know, they talk about they celebrating the LBG, the Alphabet Mafia this month.
Hey, but this year, let me tell you something. This year, whatever we've been doing in the past years, our pain, it's been working because they had a huge supposed to have been a huge LGBT little thing that they do in the streets, you know, and they canceled it.
Yeah,
they canceled it. There's a lot of places a lot of people have canceled all those parades and stuff like that, man. So I guess they're starting to see it. It's working.
Unless my man loses the midterms and they get back in power, it's just going to come back with a flood.
Yeah, you know, we at war, bro. I keep telling people this world, this
ideological war.
Man, absolutely.
Right? All right, man. Good. All right, brother.
All right, my man.
Enjoy the game. Well, I know you don't care about the game because your team ain't there, but you know.
No, I do because I like basketball. So I picked a side, and I'm going with New York. I'm going with New York.
Are you? Okay.
I'm going with New York. Yeah,
all
most
right,
definitely.
Hey, everybody. Good night for the Black Man Unfiltered Network. We are out of here.
Peace.
Peace.